Hey, welcome back to the show, the wrestling show. We're keeping it real goes right. Welcome back to Real Take Sports Talk. Fuck what you heard, it's what you're hearing, in the words of the immortal DMX. And here you're only going to hear the real takes. I'm joined, as always, by Trevor, the bar man, Sutton. What's up, Trevor?
What's going on?
What's up, Trevor, man? WrestleMania was this weekend. I did like 9 hours of streaming. I did put out so much content.
You were Iron Man, sir. Like, you were going strong.
They call me Young Brett because I just don't stop. But what we found out from WrestleMania was that Bad Bunny could work. Bianca Belair is a star. And the triple threat may have been one of the best main events in a long time. We will get into all of that. We're going to have the show. We're going to do our WrestleMania recap, review all the main points that we went through. Then we're going to talk about AEW, the Bullet Club reuniting, AEW teams, and a lot of other stuff. So stick around for that. And remember, as always, to like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Don't forget, we got daily videos coming out every single day. I don't stop, can't stop, won't stop until I get my money. Much like Vince McMahon. Anyway, let's talk about it, Trevor. We'll talk about the main card, like the main matches, the main event matches, championship matches in a minute. But just general impressions from WrestleMania, having fans back. The rain delay was a thing that happened for the first time in WrestleMania history. Peacock obviously was some bullshit throughout. I noted my over 10 technical difficulties over the 2-day period, but overall impressions from WrestleMania. What did we like? What didn't we like?
You know what? I was impressed with a lot of it. The main thing that impressed me was the fact that they didn't shy away from being like with the whole delay. They tried to pretty much what's the word? I guess you would say, like, they tried to take up airtime, show some things, which I was impressed with. I really was. The overall show was kind of what I thought it was. I give it a solid C plus, and B in there maybe.
You talking about both nights or just the like?
Well, night one was better than I thought it was going to be, honestly. And
I think night one was like overall. I think night one was overall the better night, like by far.
Yeah. I think so. I think the worst matches were on night two, honestly. But no, like night one, man, I was so impressed. Like, I mean, well, again, I'm not going to get into the matches. We're going to do that in a few minutes. But overall, I thought it was a very successful WrestleMania. Could have been better if you add in night two, absolutely. But I thought it did well, especially for their first show back with the fans. And another thing that bothered me, and I've got a couple comments about it from different people on YouTube and people that know I do the show. What did I think about the fact that it didn't look like there was any social distancing going on?
Yeah, that was something I actually noted in the stream. I was like, "Oh wow!" They were like, "Just God damn it, we're gonna have limited capacity." But apparently, there's no social distancing in this 70,000 seat stadium.
It literally looked like everyone was like elbow to elbow.
Yeah, it's like I think Vince didn't get the memo that you have to distance people like actually overall like throughout the stadium and not just like have the 5,000 or whatever or 25,000 in one area. Like that defeats the purpose. Like you might as well have just had 60,000 in the stadium. Like
I feel the same way because like I mean you didn't really see anybody up top. You saw everybody down lower. But like you could have social distance. You could have had windows in place, plexiglass windows in place, things like that. And probably the capacity could have been cut down a little bit. But are we really surprised since it is Florida?
I mean, yeah, it's Florida. I mean, look, AEW, look, as much as we were marked for AEW, right? So like they do it right. Like they don't put like everyone together. They put people in pods. You can buy like groups of 4, like seats of 4, and then there's like 4 or 5 seats of distance between you and the next pod or the next group. So you're going with people that you already hang out with, whether they're your family or your friends. So you're kind of like in your own little group. WrestleMania, you don't even know who you were next to, probably. Like you had no idea. Like it was just whatever.
Did you check out how the tickets were sold on WrestleMania? I didn't look actually.
I did. Like they had a weird pod thing, But like the thing is, like you were still next to people who were not in your pod.
Okay.
Like that was obvious. So like it was just the social distancing didn't matter. So like because there was no social distancing, so that was a big. Honestly, like that's something that has me concerned even right now because I'm like, yo, like these are people who came from probably all over the country because. Like so, we'll see what happens. Hopefully, you can hope only at this point. You can only hope for the best. But it was irresponsible for WWE to do that, honestly. But hey, man, I cut their money, 25,000 per ticket. Literally, I say it every week. Vince McMahon, the person, is the biggest heel in the world. Anyway, actually, there's one thing I want to talk about. I mentioned WrestleMania, like what we didn't like. You know what the biggest disappointment on the show was, Trevor?
What?
By far, the biggest disappointment on the show was Randy Orton versus The Fiend.
Yeah.
Okay. Because let's actually get into this just for a minute. Because, okay. So match starts off. Randy Orton slithers, takes 15 minutes to get to the ring after we've already waited like 30 minutes for WrestleMania to start. And then The Fiend comes in. He goes into a hallway. Fog fills the hallway, and the burnt Fiend turns into the original Fiend, which actually a much scarier match. Which I was like, okay, cool. We got rid of the burnt Fiend.
We talked about that a couple of weeks ago. What was going to happen with that?
Yeah, I mean, look, I wasn't surprised. Like this was like what they were gonna do anyway. Just like have a magical like, oh god damn it, pal, he's the Fiend again. But I mean, look, that wasn't even the worst part of this. I did not mind that, okay? I was like, okay, cool. That's fine. Understandable. But then they have a big Jack in the Box. Okay, again, I was like, cool. This is kind of cool. Alexa Bliss does the thing. She turns the Jack in the Box, and the Fiend pops out and attacks Randy Orton. Amazing start to the match. It was all downhill from there. All downhill from there. They have a regular wrestling match. The Fiend, like, nothing phases him. Randy Orton does 3 DDTs. But nothing phases the Fiend. He keeps on getting up. And then, as the Fiend delivers his sister Abigail's kiss to Randy Orton, he's stopped by Alexa Bliss, who comes up from out of the Jack in the Box, dressed in black, with the black goo, the worst gimmick in professional wrestling, this black goo running down her face. Pause. And she... And she distracts the Fiend, and the Fiend gets RKO'd in 1, 2, 3. The match is over.
And then he gets right back up.
And then they disappear. That's bad enough, all right? The match was bad enough. But what they did the next night pissed me off so much. You know why, Trevor? Because now Alexa Bliss... Okay, you want to do the storyline where Alexa Bliss leaves the Fiend, and now she's this dark entity on her own? Okay.
With just all that came out of nowhere that we don't understand, no one explained shit about.
Right. Okay. That's okay. You know what? I get it. She had to go off on her own. Let the Fiend be by himself as well. I get that. But the way they did it, they just said, well, it happened. And now the Fiend's not angry about it?
There was no storyline leading up to it. There was no reason behind it. It just happened. And you're sitting there, you're like, okay, this is unsatisfying. This, the lead up, the whole storyline was great, but there were times, like I said, that it kind of left me like, it's getting old. Like, what are you gonna do with it? Then the Fiend comes back. Yes, okay, regular match. That makes no sense.
But you know what the worst thing was about the entire thing, Trevor? Because if you watch Raw last night, they said that Randy Orton and Fiend are done. The Fiend said, well, I'm going in a different direction. Randy Orton said, I'm going in a different direction. They built this up for months as Randy Orton and the Fiend, like a death feud. Literally, Randy Orton burned you alive. You are the darkest entity in professional wrestling. And you're just like, oh, well, I'm moving on. See you next time. We literally, Trevor, wasted the past 4 months with this bullshit storyline. I'm not even saying, okay, yeah, of course Randy Orton had to go off and do his own thing, and The Fiend had to go do his own thing eventually.
Yeah.
But that's how you end it? You're
but
saying,
there was no ending. There was really no ending.
There was nothing. The Fiend got distracted by Alexa Bliss, and then he chooses to just go, oh, well, I'm going to forgive everybody, including the man who burned me alive and the person who cost me my revenge. See ya. It honestly, I'm sorry. Last thing I'm gonna say for
oh,
me,
absolutely.
they're okay. I've given WWE creative a lot of leeway with the Fiend. I like the Fiend. I like the character. I like Bray Wyatt's vision for the Fiend. But the direction this character has taken over the past 4 months, dude, it's just I can't justify this. It's terrible. It's a terror. Like it makes him. You know what it does? It makes him look like a fucking geek.
Yeah, it does. But see, that's what they did with Bray Wyatt in the first fucking place. Like he had so many great rivalries. There could have been more, and they killed it. They killed it before it could even start. Him and Finn Balor could have been a hell. Like when he became Fiend, could have been a hell of a storyline, a rivalry. Like with Finn Balor being, the Demon Finn Balor, the first match went the way it was supposed to go. Fiend was supposed to squash it. Then you could have next time they're on actual television, could have had Finn Balor coming out like, hey, like this, that, and third. I'm not sitting for that, but that's not what happened. You had Finn Balor get squashed, then run with his tail between his legs, go back to NXT, which is not a bad idea. He should be on NXT, but they could have built that to be something more.
It's also like you remember in 2003 when The Undertaker was buried alive by Kane?
Yeah.
Imagine if that happened. They spent months building up the big return of The Undertaker. He returns at WrestleMania, and he loses, and then the next night he just forgets about it.
Right.
How mad would you be? This is the exact same thing, basically just played out. Like the exact same thing, just played out before our eyes.
It's to me, unfortunately, I don't expect much from WWE Raw, the Raw brand. And I mean, yes, it's WWE in a whole and not just one particular show, but I don't expect much. Like they have clearly had the worst show by leaps and bounds for months now. And each show to me gets worse and worse. And like, we're not even going to get on the fact that you killed fucking Hurt Business and then he teams up with what's left of Retribution. Anyway, but yeah, so.
Goddamn, pal, gotta push T-Bar. Or whatever his name is. Hey, I'll give him this. T-Bar is actually entertaining on Twitter. I will say that.
Oh, yeah, he's hilarious. Actually.
He's hilarious on Twitter. T-Bar attack. But no.
I totally feel like they wasted time. They wasted a good storyline, and they're wasting talent with Bray Wyatt. Honestly, I would like Bray Wyatt somewhere else. Honestly.
Like at this point, it just makes him look like a geek. It makes him look weak. And that's something the Fiend can't look like. You already you had Goldberg beat him. You had him lose the title to Roman Reigns. And now you have Randy Orton hit him with an RKO, and Alexa Bliss costs him the match, and now everybody just moves on. Look, I don't even know what to say, man. Like, at this point, I don't even feel like, the sad part is, I watched the Firefly Funhouse segment with Bray Wyatt. I was still entertained by it last night.
Yeah.
But just knowing that eventually it's gonna let me down because somehow like WWE's gonna put their own spin on it and ruin it, it just makes me deflated and I don't even want to watch it because it's good. It's like the biggest cuck in the world. It's the biggest cuck in the world because I'm just like I'm gonna get so excited for like this one moment and then it's gonna be just ruined at the end. So look, I mean, it was terrible. I think universally panned this segment, but. You know what was not universally panned? A lot of these main event matches for WrestleMania. Let's talk about one of them. Although this was not the main event, it actually opened the show of shows. This was the first match with fans back. This was the first match that Drew McIntyre had in front of fans since winning the Royal Rumble back in 2020. He, of course, main evented last year under closed doors with no fans attending. But Drew McIntyre comes out, gets a huge pop from the fans, and deservedly so. And then the almighty Bobby Lashley came out. And this match was a lot different than what I thought it was going to be. I originally predicted it was going to be a match, like very quick match, kind of like that Goldberg, Brock Lesnar they had in 33. But they come out and they have a pretty good wrestling match. And they're both, you can tell, beating the shit out of each other. And the finish was Bobby Lashley putting in the Hurt Lock and making Drew McIntyre pass out. So we talked about this. We talked about how one of the possibilities would be that they would have Bobby Lashley win and then have Drew kind of chase the title into the summer. And I think that's probably the direction they're going with. What did you think about the match?
So. I think so. I remember us talking about it, and I believe that's where it's going. But you know what? To me, it works better that way. Like, to me, like, I love Drew McIntyre, and I think Drew McIntyre deserves every accolade and everything he gets, like we said last week, and we've been saying for weeks now, because he single-handedly, besides Roman Reigns, put this company on his back and carried it during some of the toughest times. But I do believe Bobby Lashley deserves a decent title run. He deserves a good title run. I don't think he should cut it short at all. So I'm okay with this. I'm okay with that outcome, honestly. I think, honestly, it made WrestleMania a little better because of the fact that Drew lost.
Yep. I see that Liam just asked about Great-O-Mania. Great-O-Mania is coming up as soon as. Don't worry, we got that book. We're gonna talk Great-O right after we finish our WrestleMania review. We're gonna review the main event match and get to that. But okay, so again, there were a lot of people online who were mad about this finish. They were mad about Drew losing. They were mad about the fact that he went out there, he was supposed to be the big guy. He was supposed to be the main event, the standard bearer of the company, the one who everyone loved, and he went out there and he lost. And while I get the frustration, I do think in the long run it's going to be better because it's going to draw it out, and it's also going to help Bobby Lashley look like more of a threat. And even though I would have loved to have seen Drew win, probably going into SummerSlam, they're planning on having fans back at SummerSlam. They're planning on having, not stadiums, but arenas packed in for shows like Raw and SmackDown and whatnot. I think it's going to be good for them. They're going to be able to get a pop then when it's also safer. I guess they want to have a bigger pop. So, I mean, look, and again, Bobby Lashley's probably going to look more dangerous out of this, so I'm all for it. I like it. I was not mad about this. Honestly, of all the main event matches, there was nothing that happened in those matches that I was angry about. Actually, the overall show, the only thing that upset me was what happened with The Fiend, to be honest. Other than that, I was like, okay. Like, I was either, indifferent or I was, psyched, honestly. And when it's also safer, I guess they want to have a bigger...
Yeah, I agree. It for me, it was one of those things where, yes, I understand why it happened. And honestly, I would have enjoyed seeing Drew win because I think Drew deserves to win. But I think doing it the way it was done makes it more interesting. Makes it more interesting to watch in the long run and makes it for a better rivalry between those two. Because I think what's going to happen is Drew's going to probably lose at the next pay-per-view, and then someone else is going to get in the title hunt. And then Drew's going to, like you said, chase it into the summer, maybe to SummerSlam.
Well, we can only pray that it's not Randy Orton. If it's Randy Orton, I'm just going to... I already don't watch Raw. I might actually stop, even keeping up with Raw at that point. Raw is by far the worst wrestling show that there is right now.
The only reason I even keep up with it is just so I know what's going on. So we can talk about it. Other than that, I just don't watch Raw. And I don't even watch the whole show.
It was tough. It was tough to watch last night. Honestly, it was really tough to watch. Anyway, what was not tough to watch? Bad Bunny's WWE debut. Let's talk about the Bunny. Man. Yeah. Oh, man. Bad Bunny had a great WWE debut. He was doing wrestling moves. So, okay, let's talk about this. Damien Priest and Bad Bunny took on The Miz and John Morrison. And this, honestly, I think stole the show. And it was very unexpected. It stole the show. Bad Bunny did wrestling moves. And look, a lot of people like us, we're big. We can admit when we're wrong. And boy, were we wrong about this. I thought I was going to be the Damien Priest show all the way. Bad Bunny was going to come in, do his one spot like most celebrities do. Literally the exact opposite happened. It was the Bad Bunny show from the beginning.
Yeah.
He came in. He went into the match. He was the first person in the match. And he literally, out of the 15 minutes I think this match was given, he was in it for 12.
Yeah.
So he dominated. He actually dominated early, and then what got me was every move he did, whether it was a Hurricane Rana, a suplex, a dive, a baseball slide, the code red, he did the John Morrison on the outside. Everything was crisp, and he didn't mess up. There were no botches in this match. And for someone who's having their first match, I don't care how choreographed it is, to take the bumps that he did, to do everything he did and sell. People don't understand this. He sold it like it was like he was a veteran. I have not seen a celebrity debut like this one ever. This, to me, in my opinion, this was the best celebrity wrestling debut match we've ever seen. And like I said, he actually had us suspend our disbelief, and I was like, we were rooting for Bad Bunny. We were into the match, and I thought it was great. I thought that Damian Priest actually got in some good action in the end, but man, again, the Bad Bunny show, man, big ups to Bad Bunny for this. Trevor, what do you think?
I want to know how long he's been training actually, because you already know this wasn't just, I'm gonna jump in the gym like 2 days ago, and no, this had preparation for it. I want to know how long he's been training, because like you said, he looked crisp. He looked super crisp. Most of the moves were done correctly. That code red or Canadian destroyer, whatever you want to call it, it was amazing. Like, I was not expecting that. Like, I was not expecting that type of move from his first debut. And then honestly, it kind of reminds me of the Pat McAfee match in NXT, because I don't care what anyone said. That pay-per-view was amazing, but that match stole the goddamn show. That match was great. That was one of the best matches that night, in my opinion. And I know there's some other people that agree with me, but that was a great match. And honestly, I think, like we were talking about earlier, night one really surprised me. This was a great night, and this was by far to me one of the best matches of the night.
Yeah, and night one had some matches. Like we were thinking that there'd be another match that took stole the show. No, it was Bad Bunny, and look. You mentioned Pat McAfee and all that in NXT, and I thought Pat McAfee actually did great, and I thought that as a match, his match with Adam Cole was actually better. But I think Bad Bunny's performance in this match, though, was better than Pat McAfee's. Because one other thing that we probably should mention is Bad Bunny he's not a big guy. Pat McAfee generally he works out. He's a bigger guy than Bad Bunny is. And I actually am not sure. I'm assuming Bad Bunny is a huge fan of wrestling, because he like the facial expressions, he sold everything perfectly. I think he sells better than I've seen some wrestlers do. He sells better than some of the tag teams in the women's tag team turmoil match did. Big shout out to Mandy Rose. Oh God, R.I.P. Mandy Rose and her leg. But they did a good job, I think, of preparing him. And look, you can only prepare someone so much.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, they have to go out there and perform it, and he hit it out of the park. If I had to grade him, it would be an A+ performance. Literally, this match could not have been any better. It doesn't matter. Damian Priest might have gotten a little more offense in, but it didn't matter because he looked like $1 million. And you know what they were talking about? When they were talking about this on Entertainment Tonight or wherever, they were talking about Bad Bunny and Damian Priest. So you have a star now in Damian Priest. People are going to keep up and like, oh, yeah, that's Bad Bunny's guy. Let me see what he's doing. And they're going to see him kick ass on Raw. They're going to see him go out there and kick ass on pay-per-views, probably win a title or something. And it's going to make him a bigger star for it. And again, kudos to Bad Bunny. I again cannot say enough good things about this match. I was literally watch back the stream I was doing. I was marking out. I was like full on marking out. I was like, what? Did Bad Bunny? And again, Brian Alvarez mentioned this. Okay, yes, a lot of the work on a Canadian destroyer is done by the person taking the move. So
absolutely.
John Morrison, had a lot more to do with the move than Bad Bunny. But for Bad Bunny to take it right too, he also took a lot of these moves in the correct way. And so it's just enough good things cannot be said about this match. If you ever have a celebrity debut, if you ever have a celebrity match,
This is what you wanted to do.
This is exactly what you want. This is to me, the best celebrity match we've ever seen in wrestling, and I'm including the D'Angelo.
Close second, Pat McAfee.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
with Pat McAfee though, like we got to give credit due. Pat McAfee has an independent wrestling career. Like he wrestled on the indies, so we expected better from him. We don't know much about Bad Bunny. I don't know if Bad Bunny's had any wrestling experience at all. But
he does now. Bad Bunny is undefeated at WrestleMania. Take that, Pat McAfee.
there was a comment that one of my friends made saying that I love Bad Bunny, but I would love to see him more in the wrestling ring.
Dude, hey, man, look, if the rap career wasn't so lucrative because he's like one of the best in the world at it, the wrestling ring is definitely waiting for him. He's like
definitely. If you want to retire, dude, come on down.
It was crazy, man. He did a suplex on like the Miz. That's big ups to Bad Bunny, as Taz would say. Big ups to him. Yeah, and big ups to everyone watching this video. Remember, guys, like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever new video is released. We do the show every single Tuesday. The time might fluctuate because it's Ramadan Mubarak to all my Muslim brothers out there. Big shout out to Tony Khan, AEW. But we got a bunch of other stuff to talk about, including, speaking of night one, the main event of night one. Trevor, again, we talked about there were not enough good things to be said about Bad Bunny's debut. There was not enough good things to be said about the BEST of WWE. Bianca Belair won her match. She won the SmackDown Women's World Championship at WrestleMania, defeating Sasha Banks in the main event of night one. And boy, was this a great match. You could tell beforehand, both women understood the moment. This is the first singles match with two women to main event a WrestleMania. This is the first match where two African Americans, I believe, main event to WrestleMania. Again, momentous occasion. You could see the emotion on both women's faces, and rightfully so. It just made you invested way more into this than you would be otherwise. And as soon as the bell rang, the storytelling was on. This match told a story. And, the biggest part of the story was, ironically, it was Bianca Belair's hair. And I mean that in a very serious way. The story of the match, much of it was around Bianca Belair's hair. There were multiple times where Sasha Banks tried to grab her hair and got leverage. We saw the spot where she tangled it around the turnbuckle and pushed her in. We saw many spots where she, like right here, where Bianca Belair was able to reverse it, and that was the ending spot of the match. Sasha Banks, the entire match, was able to get leverage with her hair, and then at the end, she said no and took it back. She hit her finishing move, and the EST became the BEST of WWE in the main event of WrestleMania. This was a great match, and you couldn't help but be just elated at the ending. You couldn't help to be elated for Sasha Banks, who, I know she hasn't won a match at WrestleMania, but man, she made Bianca Belair look like a star as well. That's taking nothing away from Bianca, but this was a great match. Trevor, I want to hear your thoughts, man. What did you think about this match and just the magnitude of it?
So I mentioned maybe a few weeks back, we talked about Bianca Belair. I mentioned how sometimes she's so adorable. It's hard to even picture her as a tough guy, or a tough girl, I should say. And just seeing her when she came out, full of emotions, and that big old smile on her face, she was almost in tears that entire match. And it's like you said, it told a story. It was one of those things where you're like, oh man, like I'm watching wrestling. I ain't supposed to be shedding a tear. I'm a man, but you got I kind of felt misty-eyed the entire thing. Like it was just awesome. It was awesome to see. And for the young girls growing up, African American females, ages 6 to 100, saw something they have never seen before in any state. And we know what it is. It's a soap opera. We know that. But you also got to understand, back in the days of WWF, you didn't see stuff like this. So this is something that was that was prevalent. And scripted or not, it's still a big deal. You know, it's kind of like reading a comic book and seeing someone that looks your skin complexion, like we were talking about the other week with the great Khali for you.
Oh like yeah, we'll talk about Great Khali because my man got a payday for WrestleMania in 2021. But I'm sorry, continue.
But no, like I mean, it's just to see something like that. Like I remember when I worked at an arena and I would see the little girls come in looking for their favorite wrestler just a couple years ago, and looking for their favorite wrestler when Ronda Rousey was there, and like we would see all these girls come in just with the wrestling gear on. And I'll never forget this particular day. There was a little girl who was favorite wrestler was Ember Moon, but they did not have any Ember Moon in merchandise at the stands, and they were super upset about it or whatever because like this little girl didn't see anybody that looked like her, you know.
Yeah.
And this here is just beautiful to see. Like you said, it couldn't have been a better match, honestly. If she picked Asuka, I don't think it would have been the same. Like it was the reason she picked the Sasha Banks was what we saw. Sasha couldn't have put her more over if she tried.
Oh my God, Sasha Banks, by the way, just again, enough cannot be said about her. Because exactly. Sasha Banks, like I talked about last week, she's the new cerebral assassin of WWE. Like nobody understands what your facial expressions, what your reactions, what your the ring psychology that she has is second to none in wrestling. It's off the charts, and that's why she's like, you know, the boss of WWE. But I truly cannot say enough good things about this match. It deserved to go on last. You could actually even argue that it deserved to be on night 2. But, you know, I like this. I like having 2 main events. I talked about this on 2 different nights because it allows for them to be built up as more special. And this was a very special match. Also, the spot where Bianca Belair did a deadlifted Sasha Banks over her head onto the steps. People don't understand. That's hard enough. That's hard enough to do, to balance yourself up steps while holding someone straight. But to do it 10 minutes into a main event of WrestleMania match, like when you're getting tired, when you know the pressure is on, that there's people, there's no second takes, it made it even more special. And like I said, just amazing match. I'm not gonna give star reviews because I don't give star reviews to matches, but this was just perfect.
It was.
I think there's actually a lot that happened in this WrestleMania that could not have gone any better. And that's to say that about WrestleMania in 2021 and like in our current era, that's a huge compliment. WWE hit it out of the park with this main event.
It says a lot. Even after we just pretty much badmouth Raw, and we have been for in eternity, it really does show something that they had so many good spots, so many good matches in this event. And like another spot with this one for me was when they both looked at each other and kind of realized that we're making history right now. Both of them had tears in their eyes. Both of them had smiles on their face. They both realized, like, we're making history. This is great. Like, this was, to me, couldn't have been any better. It couldn't have been any better. And honestly, big ups to Sasha Banks. Like, could you imagine if Vince actually allowed her to leave like she wanted to?
Oh man, they would have lost their best. Like, no shame to Charlotte. No, nothing against Becky Lynch, who I think is overall the biggest like star in wrestling. Mm-hmm. But man, if Sasha Banks had walked and gone somewhere else, they would have lost. They would have lost,
really
literally. And man, she still might want to. We can only hope. But
I mean, she still might want to. But like she went to Vince and told him that she wanted to. And this is one of the smartest things I think Vince McMahon has ever done. Yeah. He said no, and he let her go on like a couple for leave for a little bit and let her come back. But he was not letting her go. He saw what everyone else has just seen.
And sorry, go ahead.
You're fine. I'm done actually.
Yeah, you better be. No, but No, but the I don't know if you saw this. There's a video going around of Sasha Banks after the match. Like when the match is over, Bianca celebrating in the ring. She's on the outside looking up on the ground and she's just smiling from ear to ear. It was big grin. Like you could you could tell that like she didn't care whether or not she won. This entire match was a huge WrestleMania moment for multiple reasons. You can even take the race thing out of it, take all of that out. These two women went out there and main evented, and for anyone out there who thinks that, oh my God, women shouldn't be the main event, they're not the draw, they're not this, they're not that, dude. It's wrong. All right. You have decades of WWE, WCW bullshit poured down your throat. You need to get over it because whether it be what Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks did at the main event of WrestleMania, or what Dr. Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa did on Dynamite a few weeks ago, dude, they're the draw. Women are the draw. They're capable of being the draw. The biggest star in wrestling, I just mentioned, is Becky Lynch. When she comes back, biggest star in wrestling. So
I can't wait for her to come back. I cannot.
Oh my God. Yeah, dude, like she's literally Stone Cold of our era. It's crazy.
She really is the most over wrestler, period. Female, male, period.
Oh yeah,
the most over wrestler in the past 10 years.
Yeah, it's like it's just, again, I cannot wait for her to come back. I can't wait to talk about her return. But again, if you have anything, this should at least shut up all the doubters. This should shut up anyone who has anything terrible to say. Because these women went out there, these athletes went out there and had the best match of night one.
Definitely.
All right. We just finished talking about the women's match. Remember to like, share, subscribe if you haven't already. Let's talk about the main event of night 2, Trevor, because this was something.
Talk about this because I haven't talked to you about how you feel about it.
I got some feelings, but you know what? They're generally positive. All right, so in the main event for the redo that. Throat's a little sore from all these streams I've been doing. All right, so in the main event for the Universal Championship of Night 2, WWE saw what I believe to be one of the best main events of WrestleMania we've seen in a while. It had a big fight feel going in, and as the bell rang, all we saw from then on was action, storytelling, and true wrestling galore. Let's talk about the match. Early, we saw Jey Uso interfere on the outside before being taken out by Edge, who DDT'd him on the steel steps. Then we saw combos of all the different wrestlers involved in the match. We saw Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns. We saw Edge versus Roman Reigns. Edge versus Daniel Bryan. And then, so it was just action from beginning to end, and like there was no pausing, which I loved about this match. Then we obviously saw the spots where Daniel Bryan gets power bombed through a table, while Roman Reigns, who at that point was standing up on some steel steps, immediately gets speared by Edge on the floor on the outside. And then we saw Edge go for a chair shot on Roman before. He went for a chair shot, and then the part of the chair broke off, and we saw what I believe to be the best spot of the match right here. Yes. The double crossface. Oh, it was perfect. Edge had Roman in a crossface, and as Roman's about to tap Edge, the returning Edge, about to become the new WWE Universal Champion in the main event of WrestleMania, Daniel Bryan comes back into the ring, stops his hand, and then he puts him into a label lock. So Roman literally has nowhere to go. And then you see them headbutting each other, Edge and Daniel Bryan headbutting each other into oblivion. Like, I went into this match, like, on the stream saying that in this match, wrestling is not a work. Wrestling is 100% real. Everyone in the ring, whether it be Roman, Edge, Daniel Bryan, treat it like the ring psychology, the acting, whatever you want to call it, was on point. We all felt like they wanted it. Each person in this match wanted it. And then it was on full display. The conclusion of the match, Edge went out and he did a concerto on Daniel Bryan. He went to go do one on Roman Reigns, but Jey Uso returned, comes back, attacks Edge, allows for Roman to pick up a spear, and then Roman, the tribal chief, lifted up Edge and put him on top of Daniel Bryan, and he pinned both men. The 1, 2, 3 to retain the Universal Championship. I'm going to get into what I believe this match was, but Trevor, I am so excited to hear what you had to say because this was amazing.
I remember last week and the weeks leading up to it, you were team Daniel Bryan. Team Daniel Bryan. You wanted him to win. You thought he should win. You thought that it would make it believable that he should win. I also agree, but also was on Team Edge and have been on Team Edge. I like Edge. But I think we both mentioned something briefly that if Roman Reigns won, he'd be one of the most over heels in wrestling right now.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what just happened. What you just saw is probably the best heel. I mean, just down dirty heel win that championship. And honestly, I couldn't be more proud of it. Like I thought that wasn't an ending that no one was thinking was going to happen. They was expecting Edge or they were expecting Daniel Bryan because typically your WrestleMania winner, your Royal Rumble winner goes to WrestleMania and wins the belt. He or she wins the belt. That's pretty much how it happened. But there have been times in history. Oscar's one of them. Shawn Michaels was one of them. The list goes on. Where there have been people that have gone to WrestleMania and not won that belt. And sometimes it didn't work as well. Sometimes the fans weren't behind it as much. This worked. You even heard a little pop after he won it. I mean, half of it was boos, but you still heard that pop. This was a masterpiece. The storytelling was great. The move selection, the just back and forth was amazing. The ending, to me, is what put the cherry on top. But I want to know your opinion. I have to hear your opinion about this.
I said last week when we were previewing WrestleMania that any one of these three could win, and you'd probably be satisfied with the outcome. Right. As soon as Roman Reigns won, it was weird because I was fine. Like, I was just like, oh wow, it was an oh wow type of moment. It wasn't like a oh my god kind of like heel heat kind of moment. It was like I was like, all right, these three went out there, had a great match, and Roman looked dominant, and he dominated at the end by pinning both men.
Right.
And I think, look, for WWE, this was probably the right decision.
Oh, absolutely.
And again, I'm willing to admit when I was wrong about about things in wrestling. I was wrong about this in part, but man, this was just a great main event. Like I said that this might be. I actually think this is better than the WrestleMania 30 Triple Threat. That's no cap right here. Like this is the best main event we've seen in a long, long time, and it had the star power. All three of these people were over. WrestleMania 30, the only person in the match who was over was Daniel Bryan. If we're being honest, nobody else was over. This honestly, the level of how these three were over was kind of reminiscent of the WrestleMania 20 main event. If we're talking about triple threats, that was Benoit versus Michaels versus Triple H. Yeah. All three of those people were over. The underdog didn't win here, but man, this was just it felt real. Like I said, it felt real. And my only thing about this match was, I think they could have gone longer. I think this match was 22 minutes. I think, and it didn't have to be that much longer. Like, I think maybe maximum 5 more minutes. If this match had 5 more minutes to kind of draw out the suspense a little more, man, that ending would have it would have hit you like in the perfect way. And I'm not saying this match was in many ways perfect. Like, I think this spot right here is going to be, this was a huge WrestleMania moment. 20 years from now, this is going to be like a top 5 WrestleMania moments ever. Oh, absolutely. You saw all three men on full display. Daniel Bryan before the match was grinning from ear to ear. You could see it, man. He was excited for it. Edge was elated. I've never seen Edge so pumped up. That's saying something. To see fans be back at WrestleMania, and he was most like over. Right? He got the biggest pop of both nights. Roman came out, and again, he wasn't universally panned. People like this Roman Reigns because he shows up, kicks ass, and leaves. And you know what? He did that here. Big ups to WWE. They finished WrestleMania on a great note, and in a lot of ways, man, we were right. This main event, it was destined to succeed.
Yeah.
This was just, like I said, all three of these guys were over. This was I can't say anymore. I feel like I've over the past like 3 days, I've just said everything I can say about like, WrestleMania and this match. But this was just it was great. It was great. 5 years from now, we're gonna be looking at this as a top 5 main event of WrestleMania. Book it, brother.
Like you said, I feel like there were really no weak points in this match. I feel like the weakest part probably was the ending. I feel like it could have been better, but that ending was good too. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like going on a little longer and built a little bit, but like honestly, this ending was satisfying too. Like the whole thing was satisfying. But if I'm critiquing it, I would have liked to see it 5 more minutes longer.
Yeah. I think they because it kind of came to like. Yeah, it felt like it was going home a little quick. And I'm not saying, like again, it was a great match, but 5 more minutes to draw out the suspense a little bit would have been, I think, ideal. But regardless, great job. I don't say this a lot about WWE, but at least in the main events, because Night 2 was ugly at some points. It was really boring for the most part. But, man, this main event, it saved Night 2. It made this show, overall, WrestleMania 37, just great. So kudos to WWE. You won't get many from me in the future. So,
nope.
But yeah, but also this proved why SmackDown is the best show WWE is putting out. Like better than NXT, which by the way moved to Tuesday nights. It's on TV right now. But SmackDown is just great, and they're just the star power they have is insane.
I didn't realize until you just said it that both of the great main events were both SmackDown wrestlers.
Nani? Are you telling me SmackDown might be the premier brand in sports entertainment?
I'm just saying, Bianca Belair is from SmackDown, so
that's true, man. Also, oof. I like Adnan Virk, but oof, man, that debut he had on commentary on Raw.
Oh, it's terrible.
It was not great, man. I never thought I'd say this. # bring back Tom Phillips.
Right.
Free Tom Phillips. Man, honestly.
I was just listening to that, and I was like, wait a minute. Like, who the hell is it? And then I saw who it was. I was like, oh, my God.
Oh, man. Anyway. It's time. It's the moment that Liam, our new fan, our new subscriber, Liam has been waiting for. I promised to do this to him, or for him, during the WrestleMania stream. He was talking about Grado a lot, and he got me thinking about Grado. So let's talk about him. Grado Mania is running wild here on Real Take Wrestle Talk because I read online there was a little bit of rumors that Grado after he gets the go ahead to leave the country, leave Scotland, could be headed over to AEW, and a lot of people think that could be a good fit for Grado. And for those who are not familiar with Graham Stevely, he is arguably the biggest star in Scottish wrestling history.
Yeah.
It's Grado time. Yes, it is. So, for people who don't know, Grado is a wrestler from Scotland. He essentially is like the Daniel Bryan, I would say, of ICW in Scotland. He had some great matches. He comes out to a Madonna song, If You Call My Name, which is like the most over song there is in pro wrestling. Grado, he's like I said, an underdog. He's a bigger guy, but he as far as physically, he looks physically unfit, but man, he works his ass off. He can go until you're blue in the face. I think he blew up Drew McIntyre in a match they had, and actually in that match at one of ICW's biggest shows a few years ago, basically the WrestleMania, he actually challenged Drew McIntyre for the championship, and he won. And the pop he got was bigger than I think anything I've seen on independent wrestling ever. Like, he's so crazy over. His entire gimmick is that he's a fun-loving guy who is an underdog. And, he's argue like one of the best underdogs. I think Daniel Bryan is probably the best underdog ever, but man, Grado is underrated as far as being an underdog. He can work, and his gimmick. I think his gimmick of, coming out to this song and being a happy, jovial guy, but also being able to perform in the ring, it's perfect for AEW. Because he would go, if he goes to like WWE or NXT, he would maybe work at NXT, but if he goes to WWE, he'd be lost to the shuffle. He would never be showcased to the degree he probably should be. But AEW does a very good job of showcasing specific talent when they need to. And if they don't need to showcase the talent like that, you know what they do, Trevor? They don't put him out there and have him job to other people.
Exactly.
Oh my God, a vignette? What are these things like? But WWE doesn't do those like types of things anymore. But AEW has perfected that, which is why I think Grado as an underdog, Grado as like this character, he'd be crazy over in AEW. I think he would kind of turn into a figure, kind of like Orange Cassidy. I see him like very similar. He could take a very similar path as Orange Cassidy. But Trevor, you and I were talking about Grado a little bit. What do you think about Grado potentially going to AEW or maybe NXT, man? What are we thinking?
So, I wouldn't mind seeing Grado in NXT UK. I think he'd fit in well there. Or just NXT period, honestly. But the thing is, you have so much talent in NXT. I feel like at some point, a lot of those talented guys are going to take a backseat, and some of them actually are, like Kushida. And guys, I mean, even though Kushida is pretty much on TV almost every week, but he's just here lately anyway. But like he's taking a backseat. You got a couple of different names that have taken backseats in the NXT. And I personally like NXT, but I feel like in AEW, like you said, he will be front and center. He'll be seen for most of his talent, used for like his talent. I love the fact that he comes out to Madonna. I thought that was hilarious. I thought the way
when you call my name, it's like a little prayer down my yard. It's so great. It's so catchy.
It's so great. It's so great. Like, because have you seen his YouTube videos?
Oh, they're amazing.
When they first tried to market him, like sign Grado, like
yes,
I thought that campaign was amazing.
Yeah.
It was so good.
I think that's great, and Liam just said in the chat he should rekindle his beef with Lashley at the Royal Rumble or something. And
that'd be cool.
That would be cool. My big fear is if he goes to WWE, like the main roster, it's not gonna work for him. It has nothing to do with Grado. It's just that gimmick would not work in WWE. They don't have the wherewithal. They don't have the bandwidth, or they actually have the bandwidth. They just don't have the patience to deal with or to put up with that. If we're being real, because they're gonna discard him. They're gonna discard him like in a week. He's gonna get one pop, maybe. They're gonna do a show in Scotland. He's gonna get one pop, and then when they come back to the U.S., they're gonna be like, oh, well, but damn it, I can't no. And they're not gonna get his song too, because WWE doesn't get licensed music. No. Tony Khan at least has shown that he's willing to do that. He got Tarzan Boy for Jungle Boy. He got I can't name the song by the Pixies for Orange Cassidy, which fits it fits him so well. Yeah. But man, I'm telling you this though. Fantasy booking real quick, Trevor. Like just bear with me for a second. Grado goes to NXT UK.
Okay.
Who is the biggest, most unbeatable, most despicable heel in NXT UK right now?
Your man and my man, Mr. Walter.
Arguably one of the best performers in the world, Walter. Who at this point could probably use being moved over to the US, maybe the main roster from NXT UK. And who probably needs to lose his NXT UK title eventually.
Yeah, he does. Now, see, I would like to see him stay on the NXT brand, though. I don't want to see him in the main roster. I don't, because I think he get lost in the shuffle.
Yeah, I think Walter. Well, I think he should go to the main roster, because I think if he goes there, he's just going to be a superstar. But we'll talk about Walter again. But look, what better underdog story would there be than Grado versus Walter? And look, I'm saying build this up for like 6, 7, 8 months. Walter's like his last run in NXT UK, and have it be Walter coming in and just beating the shit out of Grado for like 8 months straight. Like Grado wants a title shot. Oh well, Walter just beats him up. Walter treats him like he's nothing. I want to see Walter destroy Grado, and then towards the end of it, build it up have a tournament, have Walter's last stand, have a tournament where the winner gets an NXT UK title shot and an NXT UK pay-per-view, and have it be Walter's last stand. Is there anyone who can beat Walter? And the winner of that gauntlet, that tournament, whatever, have it be Grado. And then it's Grado versus Walter. Literally the man who's been beating him up within an inch of his life for months. And have Grado go over. He'll have it in Scotland. He'll be the biggest baby face. He'll be the biggest underdog. And like literally there's no one you could beat. Like there's no better person to have like as a foil to an underdog than Walter. He's literally Goliath. So I think that storyline, it has so much potential, and you can have it in the UK, and you can have Grado be like the biggest underdog story in the UK, and have him, and this could be like, you know, his big moment, because we saw when he went to TNA, man, they did not know how to use him. They had him wrestling not Abyss, Joseph Park, Joseph Park for a green card. It was a green card on a pole match. Oh my. So, you know, I think, you know, he has to go somewhere where he's going to be used carefully, and a place that gives him the best chance of being over. And if it's not AEW, I think the David versus Goliath thing with Walter especially would work in NXT UK, and he would sell T-shirts. He would make NXT UK a huge brand. You would have your baby face. They wouldn't use his music, like you said. They wouldn't use Madonna, you know, on a prayer. You know, yeah, they might not, but I mean, they'll work up something else, man. They'll work up something else. I think the music is a huge part of the overall ambiance of Grado and Grado Mania, but at the same time, people also just love him. Such a likable guy. He really is. Like I said, he's the best underdog, one of the best underdogs in wrestling, and. If I'm telling you, man, NXT last stand, or Walter's last stand, have it be with Grado, build it up, and then have Walter move over to the NXT brand or wherever he is, and then you for the next 6 months or whatever, Grado runs the place as the underdog. Basically, we get what we missed out kind of from Daniel Bryan in 2014 because you know he was injured and whatnot. And I think you would sell T-shirts. I think that would also help put NXT UK on the map and make it even bigger than it is. I think that would help build that up too. So, WWE, if you're listening, which I doubt you are, but hopefully someone is. But man, book it. This is money. Like this has money written all over it. Or AEW, man. I kind of want AEW more. Oh, yeah, AEW would be cool. Liam just said in the chat, this is Liam's segment, by the way. Big shout out to Liam. Adding to your story arc with David v. Goliath, everyone could be scared to fight Walter, but then you hear Madonna's music playing, Grado wins. Oh, my God, it's like an open challenge. Oh, my God, that would be great. that would be great, man. Look, I think what we're saying is, man, Grado deserves to be used right, and Grado, he has so much, he's money written all over him. He's so over. It's just insane. Huh, no pun intended. But yes, I think Grado is great. Grado is money. Grado versus Walter could be a David and Goliath storyline that could dominate NXT UK. Again, this is fantasy booking, but man, would that be something to see. And if they do it, you know damn well I'm gonna sue WWE. This is a good insane copyright infringement on their part. But Liam, I'm gonna give you the last word. Anything else before we move on? Because I know this is your segment, so we'll give you one more question, one more comment, whatever you want, and we'll talk about that, and then we got to move on to other stuff. So we'll wait for Liam to hopefully get his thoughts together. But yeah, last thing I want to ask you.
Oh, you got a question for me? Oh, I got a question.
Oh, no. You go ahead. Where's riffing?
Okay. So past couple weeks we have had some fans say some things, and I'm
Oh,
not
wait.
mentioning.
I got a whole thing about that thing. I
Oh,
know
well,
it.
this guy I want to give a shout out to Chris Tennyson because he's very knowledgeable, very knowledgeable. We've talked. I think he's actually I enjoyed the conversation me and him had. He has a lot of good insight. He's '80s baby like myself, so he grew up saw a different thing of wrestling. But Chris, if you're watching, Chris Tennyson, it was great talking to you. Hopefully you'll be on the live stream. We can answer some questions or talk back and forth with you.
All right. We'll talk Chris Tennyson, but Liam just said I don't know if I could watch Grado being beat up from us. Liam is like the biggest Grado fan I've ever seen.
I see.
I think he actually might be a bigger Grado fan than I am a Daniel Bryan fan, and that is saying something. That is a statement right there, Liam. But look, Grado is money, as I said before. I think, and the reason I have him being beat up, it's not because to make him look weak. It's to make Walter look. Yeah, it's one to make Walter look stronger, and it's two to make people who might not have sympathy for Grado like you do, Liam, because you have so much sympathy for Grado, but other people have sympathy for Grado that otherwise wouldn't. Be like, man, he's getting his ass kicked. Like, I want to see Walter get his ass kicked. And then it's going to make him be winning even more. It's going to make it even more special. So that's why I would have that. I think in the long run, man, the moment would be bigger. That's why David and Goliath storylines are so great. But Liam, you're welcome for the segment, of course. If anyone, we'll start doing this weekly. Actually, I think this is good. I think I actually like having one segment where we do this. So how about this? From now on, we'll do a real take fan talk. We'll do one fan submitted question a week, and we'll answer that, and we'll do a little segment about it. So if you have any of that in the comments, feel free.
That you want us to cover that we have not covered, please put it in the comment section.
Put it in the comment section. We'll do it. I'll start like a backlog or whatever. So put it in the comment section, or you can email us directly, realtakesportstalk@gmail.com. Again, realtakesportstalk@gmail.com for all your questions. Send us questions. We'll do a segment every week. I like this. Anyway, thank you, Liam.
Anybody out there who is a Orange Cassidy fan, please put him in there because I cannot not talk about Orange Cassidy.
Oh well, we can talk. We can talk about the cast. we can talk about the cast. But before we do that, I do have one thing I want to talk about before we actually get to anything else. And that is New Japan. And I'm not going to talk too much because I might get copyright stricken because that's what New Japan or TVSA has been doing to people. But so we recently did a segment where we talked about New Japan's new title. And that video was taken down for copyright violations because TVSIU, who is like the distributor for New Japan, stated that we used video from their event in the video. And anyone who's ever seen this, you can go back and look at everything we've done. We never use video in this show at all. It's always just like 3 stills on a slideshow that I put together. So we never do that. Regardless, they struck down our video. We now have copyright strike for that. If we do it one more time, the channel's going to be limited as far as what we could do. So, in that, and I see like there's so many other YouTubers. There's Tyler. There's even Cultaholic and What Culture have problems. It's also why they don't cover New Japan. So like it seems to be something that everyone has trouble with, and at this point, I think it's not worth putting up with, because like literally you couldn't even have New Japan in the title and not have any pictures, nothing. If you just talk about New Japan, sometimes your videos get taken down. So from now on, we're probably not going to be covering New Japan, which is it's a travesty because we love New Japan Pro Wrestling. Will Ospreay is literally and it's like at the worst possible time when Will Ospreay finally gets his title run. But
I talked about Will Ospreay on this channel. Like, I love Will Ospreay.
Yeah. Almost. Thank God we didn't get struck down. We might get struck down for this segment. Who knows? But
probably hope not.
But one thing that I think I might do is, and we'll talk about this, I think, offline eventually, Trevor, is, maybe we'll do the thing where we cover New Japan, but we put it on Patreon. And
That makes sense.
once we get Patreon, maybe we can get Patreon. money. But no. So we might do something like that in the future. But for now, we're not going to be covering New Japan again. We watch it, we love it, but literally it's hard because if we talk about New Japan again, then our channel gets suspended, and then if we do it again, we get terminated, and there's already been so many channels terminated. So again, we're trying to grow at this point. We don't have like the bandwidth to deal with it. I already submitted copyright counterclaim, and they said we can't YouTube didn't honor it or whatever, and I'm still trying to appeal it, but we'll see what happens with that. But for now, New Japan content cannot be covered on this channel. And again, unfortunate. Don't blame me. I'm sorry. Blame TV Asahi. You can tweet them. You can tweet New Japan about it. Please do, because it's honestly it's dumb. Like I just want to talk about how dumb it is for a second. You have a product, right? A product that you're trying to, or a market. You have a market you're trying to break into in America. And you are copywriting people who don't even use videos, of your event. You're copywriting people who use picture stills or talk about your product and critique it and maybe introduce it to an American audience. And you take it down and you threaten them. You're incentivizing people not to talk about it. You're incentivizing people not to cover New Japan. You're incentivizing people to be indifferent or hate the product.
Exactly. And I mean, you have such great talent that need to be seen, and you want the American audience. I mean, we right now you have a big draw with the American audience with guys like Kenny Omega, Will Ospreay, like, I mean, and the names go on. But like, why are we gonna support you if you keep flagging us, threatening us, taking? It just doesn't make any sense.
It makes zero sense. Like you literally can't use. You can't do anything with TV Asahi in New Japan. So I'm sorry. Again, we'll figure something out. To quote Thelma in the chat, no. KO. Yeah, no. I but again, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to it's come to that, but it's where we're at. Moving on, Trevor. Oh, buddy. Did we have some interesting time this week reading the comment section of our videos? Seeing all the comments, all the people defending this snowflake, it actually fueled me to do another segment. So last week, for those who missed it, we did a segment on Colby Covington. And for those who don't know, Colby Covington is a UFC fighter, damn good UFC fighter, 16-2 in his career. So his whole gimmick basically is that he's a Trump supporter. And I said this, and when I said this, I critiqued him as being lazy, as a creative artist, as someone who's cutting promos. He's lazy, he's uncreative, and he's basically just talking out of his ass. And I don't think any of those things are out of line. Because they're not. They're true. Watch his promos. Watch anything he does. It's fake news, you're fake news. I want to thank President Trump. Fake news, President Trump. Any promo he's ever done. That's all it is. And this has nothing to do with him being a fighter. He's a great fighter. I literally said this. I said if he went out there and just kicked ass, it would be great. But instead, he wants to have a character. Okay, that's fine. But if you want to have a character, if you want to have a gimmick, if you want to cut promos, they at least have to be creative. All he's doing is just saying Donald Trump's name and then fake news wearing a Trump hat. Any idiot on the internet can do it. And literally, so many idiots on the internet do it. And this has nothing to do with
it all the time.
It's got nothing to do with politics either, dude. Like, anyone went out there with a Biden or a Bernie thing, and that was their entire gimmick. Like, I would critique them in the same way. I'd be like, yeah, it's pretty freaking lazy. Also, all these snowflakes who are defending Covington, come on, you obviously didn't watch his match with Kamaru Usman, where Usman beat him in the 5th round. Come on, just and he talks so much shit. That's also the thing. He talks so much shit that when he get his ass whooped, he you're actually excited to see him get his ass whooped. And again, all I said was his creative was bad. I never said it wasn't effective because I want to see Colby Covington get his ass kicked. So I think those things can exist. He can be a good fighter I can want to see him fight and get his ass whipped, but he can be lazy and be uncreative. Also, it's like the big, and he's just an asshole, just generally an asshole.
Yeah,
even Jorge Masvidal, who himself is a big Trump supporter, doesn't fuck with Kobe Covington because he's just like, yo, Kobe's a little like nobody likes him. I think Dana White is the only one in UFC who still defends him because he has to, because he's one of his fighters. But I mean, the comment section was crazy. I'm sorry, Trevor. I went off there, but go ahead.
No, it's cool. I understand. No, it kind of annoyed me a little bit too. I mean, it was funny for the most part, but it kind of annoyed me too because, like you said, these snowflakes are getting on my damn nerves. Like, I mean, it's one of those things, like you said, any idiot can put on a fucking Trump hat and be like, oh, Trump. And I mentioned Little Peep, but it wasn't Little Peep. I apologize, Little Peep. It wasn't you. It was Little Pump. He's another idiot that did it or whatever. And
it's clout chasing.
Exactly, it's clout chasing. I mean, but see, it made more sense for him to do it because he's a nutcase. Like Kobe Covington literally is a very good fighter, which we did not downplay at all. We did not say he was a bad fighter. We did not say he was terrible. He's actually a damn good fighter, but he needs to shut the fuck up sometimes. Like it's just one of those things. You just want him to shut up, and you watch him because, and that's part of his draw too. You watch him because yes, he's great. He's great inside the ring. You want to see him fight, but you also want to see the next big thing beat the shit out of him. And like it's just one of those things. And like, yes, we all have our opinions. Like the old saying goes, opinions are like assholes. Everyone has one. But don't sit there and say that we're marks because we're talking.
No. We're not marks. We're virgins in our mom's basement who are casuals. Who what was the other one? There's another one.
It was another one. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and who are clout chasing because Kobe Covington's video was our most viewed video. No, that's big lie.
That was false. That was very
cap personified. I think that video that was actually one of like out of the string of videos I put out lately. I think that was like one of my lowest viewed videos on this channel.
It was. I think we have
like yeah.
That one is like almost 1,000. Or is 1,000, right?
No. That video has like 200.
No, the one that we actually have, the highest one we have is one of.
The highest one we had has like 2,000.
Yeah,
over 2,000. So, like, and we've been consistently putting up like better numbers. And again, we're a small YouTube channel. I'm not trying to like show off like my 300 whatever subscribers. No, I'm just being honest. No. It's like that's just cap. They're just lying. So honestly, you guys, all the Covington snowflakes who dislike my video. Also, dislike this video. Guess what? You're helping me out. You're helping me out. I appreciate you're getting engagement up, buddy. Keep on doing it. Fuck Kobe Covington. He's a little snowflake. Could he kick my ass? Obviously he could. He's one of the best fighters in the world. I said that in last week's video, you idiots. So get out of your mom's basement. Type in your little paragraphs to me about Kobe Covington. All right, you little snowflakes. Get out of your mom's basement. Go get a life. All right, I get like if you're defending Kobe Covington this bad, you're obviously like either you've taken COVID protocol too seriously, or you're just a little bitch.
The shitbags. They're anyone that defends Kobe Covington that close is a piece of shit. Honestly, I mean,
if you're defending all of that, like it'd be one thing if I said he wasn't a good fighter. I literally said, I had a graphic where I said, hey, 16-2, motherfucker. I gave him, like, I don't know. I don't know what to say. Like, again, out of your mom's basement, you little verge. Come on. Like.
But my thing is, why even go to the verge thing? Is it because
because we're
glasses? It's because
we wear glasses. We stream on YouTube. We're talking about sports. We do it on the internet. Oh my god, yeah, dude. This is look. Even if this was my mom's basement, which it's not, it's a damn fine basement. All right,
it is. It's a damn fine basement.
God damn, like oh my god, goddamn, like that was like look. I'm not even mad about it.
No,
it's just
funny.
Like it was mostly funny. I was texting you about it. I was like, yeah. Dude, these like idiots, they're literally taking this whole thing way too seriously. So yeah, and again, you want to comment on this? Call me a verge, call me whatever. Go ahead.
I'm fine with it.
We're fine with it. Go ahead. Call me whatever.
Know what's funny though? We have become heels. We have definitely become heels, and like that.
Oh, dude.
Okay. Heel turns.
You are. If I'm a heel to Kobe Covington fans, I'm perfectly okay with that.
Oh,
if I'm a heel of the X-Pac fans, I'm even more okay with that. So, but yeah, no, Kobe Covington is, look, again, say it one more time because apparently people in the back couldn't hear me. All the Covington snowflakes in the back, listen up. Great fighter, one of the best in the world. Effective is his gimmick, but it's fucking lazy. And it's still, to this day, lazy. And go away, Heat. Okay, you marks?
And he's a piece of shit. So, go fuck yourself.
Big time. Oh, man. I was like, you just take Kobe Covington out there, replace all that with X-Pac, and we got ourselves another segment. Oh,
here's the hate letters. Trevor's a mark.
Triggered, man. All these snowflakes triggered about Kobe. He just supports our president. Well, not hashtag not our president anymore. Yeah, goddamn right, man. Anyway, moving on. Let's not get political. We don't do that here. Although, wouldn't kill us. Anyway, all right, Trev. Let's talk about AEW. AEW Dynamite is tomorrow night. Wednesday night, we know what that means. AEW Dynamite is tomorrow night. We got a few things to look forward to, but no bigger thing, I think, than a possible reunion of the Bullet Club. So for those who didn't see last week's show, the Young Bucks were teaming up with Jon Moxley to take on Kenny Omega and Doc Gallows, as well as Carl Anderson. They proceeded to turn on him in the match, kicking him in the face with super kicks, showing their loyalty and allegiance to one Kenny Omega, the AEW World Champion. And man, so the Young Bucks now are heels. They were very tweeners for a long time. They actually showed earlier past few weeks they were not loyal to Kenny Omega. They were showing that they were not digging what he was doing. They were not liking his antics as of late. They weren't liking the way he's carried himself. But this week they made it very clear that they are with Kenny Omega, and now we've seen potentially the reunion with Carl Anderson, with Doc Gallows, with the Young Bucks, a lot of the OG members of the Bullet Club. So, what do we think of this? What do you think of the Bullet Club potentially being in AEW? Because even, what's his name? Excalibur said it at the end of last week's show that we're seeing the reunion of the Bullet Club. Mm-hmm. What do you think of this potentially? The reunion of the Bullet Club, this version in AEW.
Well, you remember WWE tried to do a mini version of it with AJ Styles and
the OC, baby.
OC, yeah, as Gallows, and they had potential to do it with Finn as well, but they didn't include him. But this feels more organic. This feels, it feels right. I like it. I do like it. I think it's entertaining as hell. And it also gives us another preview of the Bucks that we saw right before they won the championship. They did like you said, a tiny heel turn. Because like you said, they've been tweeting this for a while when they were fighting FTR. And it was super kicking announcers and beating up random people and things like that. But I liked the Bucks in a heel aspect. I liked Bullet Club. I did, especially when Cody Rhodes was a member of it. I loved Bullet Club, but it makes me wonder, like, how many teams are they going to bring back? You know what I mean? in AEW, like, it's getting a little sad, it seems like.
We'll talk about the teams in a minute, but I think one important thing to note, though, Tama Tonga, I think, gave an interview a few weeks back where he talked about, this version of the Bullet Club potentially in AEW.
Right.
And for those who don't know, Tama Tonga was like another original founder of the Bullet Club in Japan. Yeah. There's talks that this could potentially lead to a crossover, which could be fun, because that door, that invisible door that was between AEW and Japan is kind of opened, and you saw Kenta in AEW a few weeks back. So we're seeing that door open. But what he said was, look, Gallows and Anderson and the Young Bucks aside, like all the rest of these guys, they're not the Bullet Club. They're the elite. And he's talking about Cody. He's talking about Hangman Adam Page. He's talking about Kenny Omega. So, and I think there is a conversation to be had because he basically said that the Bullet Club or the Elite essentially is just a parody of the Bullet Club.
Absolutely.
And I think in many ways it's absolutely right. And that's why I also think calling them the Bullet Club, unless you're going to do a storyline where the actual Bullet Club from Japan comes out and maybe fights them off and do like something with that, which I would like to see that. Yeah. Unless you do that, I think it's misguided. I think it's misguided to call them the Bullet Club. Hint at it, but at the same time, I don't know if fans are going to actually take it seriously. Even though Nick Jackson, Matt Jackson, the Gallows, and Anderson are there, again, he's kind of correct when he's saying Kenny Omega is part of the Elite. Cody Rhodes part of the Elite. Hangman Adam Page, even though they're not part of the storyline, they're the Elite because that's what they marketed themselves as. That's literally what they named the company. They're not Bullet Club. No. And I think that's worth saying. That's worth thinking about when we're talking about this. So would I like to see this if they're doing a build up to a storyline with the Bullet Club? I want to see Tama Tonga and Bad Luck Fale in AEW beating up this version of the Bullet. I would love to see that.
I love that.
They are, oh my god. Look, I know they do amazing work in Japan, but man, they would mega they have money written all over them. Those guys are. I know they're kind of like the muscle of the Bullet Club, or they have been for a while. But man, those guys are so great at what they do. Yeah, so entertaining on the mic as well. But what do you think? What do you think? Maybe, you think they might be going too far with this?
Like you said, they're elite. They're not Bullet Club. They definitely are elite. I mean, yes, were these members of Bullet Club? Yes, but they came in. The name of the company is All Elite. That they help market the company, help start the company. They're elite, you know what I mean? It would be interesting to see other members of the Bullet Club come in and, duke it out or whatever. But I think they're milking it a little too much. I think they need to be either be your own entity or be elite. Do it. You want to be a heel version of the Elite, call it something different. But Bullet Club.
Although the real heel move would be to do exactly what we don't want them to do, which is call them the Bullet Club. There's you little marks, we're the Bullet Club.
We're the Bullet Club. We don't care what you say. Bullet Club.
Yeah, that would actually fit. That fits.
Yeah, it does. It does. But it'd be interesting to see what they do tomorrow night.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what they do tomorrow night. I don't know. So we know tomorrow night, they're obviously probably going to have some sort of big celebration for Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks reunion or whatever. But I think the more this drags on, then the more we think about eventually Jon Moxley, I think, is going to be written off TV, right? He has to be because his wife, Renee Paquette, is I think 8 months pregnant at this point?
Close to, yeah.
Yeah. So I think and they haven't really done it, which was interesting. I think I believe they were supposed to do it when they had the farty pyro match. Have we talked about that actually? I don't think we got a chance to talk about that.
I don't know. We did talk about that terrible match. I don't know.
It was a fine match. I'm not gonna lie to you. Okay, the exploding barbed wire. Yeah, it was fine until the end when they fucked up the dude. Oh, it was. Look, I've never been so deflated watching I was excited. I was because all right, here's the thing. Okay, I want to talk about this because I've been holding this in for a minute. Man, it was a good match. All right, look, what did you expect from a barbed wire death match? Yeah, farty pyro on the outside, in the match. I like the ring explosion, the rope explosions were actually pretty damn good, if I may say so. But man, that ending. They built that up so it couldn't fail. They had the counter. This was Botchamania intro level. This should be Botchamania's intro for the next 10 years. Because this was that bad.
Actually ruled as a botch. I've never.
It was a botch. So in reality,
I've never read anything about it afterwards.
So let's actually just talk about it for a second. So Omega beats Moxley with the help of Gallows and Anderson. Right. Then, the counter's supposed to stop. It doesn't stop. The counter keeps going. We're seeing like this 30-second like counter that's getting everyone in the ring excited. We were promised this ring is going to fucking explode. So we're all excited. The pyro looks to be set up. Everything looks to be set up. We're like, okay, we're gonna get something cool here. And then on top of that, all right, it's bad enough they have the counter going, but then on top of that, they have my man Eddie Kingston come out to his former best friend who he turned his back on, but now he's like, I don't care what anyone says. Oh, I can fuck with him because he's my brother, but nobody else can try to kill Jon Moxley. He goes out there. The Butcher and Blade are telling him, what are you doing? He goes into the ring, tries to save his friend who's handcuffed, tied up, can't go anywhere, can't escape this explosion. And what does he do? He covers him up. Epic, gripping drama. At that point, I was like, so devoted. I was like,
Edge of my seat.
I was like, oh my god, this is insane. This is great storytelling. And then
yeah.
And he falls over. The worst part is Eddie Kingston sells it like he's dead.
He sure did. That was the funniest shit ever, though.
That was worse. Definitely worse than Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania. That was worse than a lot of things WWE. This was AEW's like big botch moment. Like they haven't had it yet, but this is like their. Oh, this was bad, man. Like
I wanted to look into, reading up on it to see if it actually was a botch. It never did.
So it was a botch, but Tony Khan immediately was like, all right, we're going to blame this on Kenny because he's the heel, which, I guess in retrospect, is a smart thing to do. But I also like that. They actually explained it, I think, as best you can, given the situation. Like Eddie Kingston said, he has PTSD or whatever. Like that's, look, there are no great outcomes after that, to be honest. That's as fine as an explanation as you're going to get. So, at least they didn't try to be like, it would have been worse if they had sold it like it was actually like this was what was meant to happen. That would have been much, much worse. If they had been like, oh man, and Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley are out of town or out of action this week due to the injury sustained in the explosion. If they had tried to sell that explosion like it was a real thing, like that would have been, man, that would have killed that company. That would have been their big.
Like I love how at the end of the match, Moxley was like, yeah, making no shit about explosions.
Saved it. He look, his promo there, it honestly did save it a little bit. So big shout out to Jon Moxley on that one. Love to see it. What else we got to talk about? Oh, one quick thing about AEW before we move on to the AEW team conversation. So Daily's Place. So Jacksonville announced that Daily's Place is allowed to run at full capacity, and they run at capacity about 5,000 people, and they're gonna have a concert there for Machine Gun Kelly in a few weeks. So that's like kind of what made this announcement big. So Tony Khan has not said one way or another whether or not he's gonna allow like full capacity. I cannot see Tony Khan doing that, honestly.
Me either.
It doesn't seem like something he would want to do. It doesn't seem like that's what's best for business, pal. So, but I think it's just kind of like a sign, I think, that they might maybe allow more fans, which could be a good thing because AEW has shown this. They've shown that they're willing to do this the right way. Right. Put people in pods and socially distance them, which is, if you're going to do it, it's great. So I actually wouldn't mind if they even had you could fit 2,000 people in there, making it like half capacity, whatever it is, right? And they could still do it safely because the area is big enough and it's open door, or it's outdoors, which makes it even more safe to have an event there. So what do you think about that real quick?
I think it's interesting, but like you said, I honestly don't think Tony Khan is going to go with that. I honestly don't think he's going to do the full capacity. He might up the capacity a little bit, but he's not going to do full capacity. Not at all. Tony's been so cautious during this whole thing and really caring about the fans and the well-being of the talent. I don't really think he's going to do full capacity.
Yeah, that would be that would be a bad move on his part. And even he knows it. He said it before. So I think he's going to wait. AEW is planning on running shows I think in August, starting in August, which I think is good. They're planning to run shows in like Boston, like all the markets they missed out on doing last year. They're promising the fans those tickets, which is another great move, man. Like just like literally, dude. Like I'm so glad we have a wrestling company that actually gives a shit about us.
Me too. me too.
Like
it's been a long time coming.
Like WWE is just like, oh goddamn it, okay, we're gonna be at half capacity, but put everyone together.
There you go.
Oh, so dumb, man. That was so dumb. But big shout out to him. I can't wait. Once everyone's vaccinated, once hopefully we're at herd immunity, whatever. Cannot wait to see a raucous AEW crowd back because, dude, the crowds, those shows. Look, I like what they've been doing at Daily Space. They've made it work, more so than WWE has with the Thunderdome, brother. But yeah. Also, wait, can we talk about one other thing before we get to the teams? Because I actually wanted to get your thoughts on this because it was something I noticed that I really, really thought was funny. Our boy Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania got booed out of the building.
Dude, out of his socks. It was the funniest shit ever.
Oh my God. It was hilarious. Hulk Hogan comes out first night of WrestleMania. First thing we see basically after the rain delay. Comes out, cuts a promo with Titus O'Neil. Titus O'Neil, by the way, the most over thing in all those segments he did with Hogan. Titus O'Neil came out and he cut his promo, and as soon as Hulk Hogan started talking, you know what you heard if you were watching it on the Peacock Network, you heard him getting booed and then the crowd noise getting turned down. But if you watch the videos from the fan sections, it's just boos. It's just straight boos, and it's loud. And you could see Hulk Hogan's expression. He's just like, oh, brother, at least I'm over. Like, book me in the main event. But again, if you want a true main event heel, Hulk Hogan's the way to go. But especially, like, I think I talked to you about this. Looking back at all the Hulkamania era matches, like all the main events he's had, he was the biggest dick in all of those matches.
Absolutely, all of them.
We were talking about once, I think. So WrestleMania 4, Hogan comes out during Macho Man's big moment. Yep. He comes out and he's just like, oh, brother, yeah, good for you, brother. Hot dog and grandstand, brother. Like, WrestleMania 5 comes around. What was WrestleMania 5? Yeah, that was the Mega Powers. Yeah. So he goes over. That's fine. All right, cool. 6. I think we talked about this specifically. WrestleMania 6. Big and freaking heel Hulk Hogan. Face of the company heel Hulk Hogan comes out. He loses. But you know what he did, Trevor? And we talked about this. As Hulk, you can watch it. As Warrior pins him. At 3.5, Hogan kicks out big time. Yep. He's like, nope. I would have gotten my shoulder up, like to tell people. And then, while Warrior, it's his big moment. Well, it's Warrior's big moment. He's celebrating. Hogan's like, oh, brother, like being like, oh man, how could I lose, brother. That's all Hulk Hogan says in my mind. But then
you're not wrong.
Instead of the referee presenting the belt to him, all right. Hulk Hogan, passing the torch. You know what? That's fine. Passes the torch. Brother. Immediately after Warrior turns his back. Oh, brother, I lost, brother. Like, and then the camera, it's not focused on Warrior. It's focused on Hulk Hogan on his little, on the machine going back, going like, oh, brother, I can't believe I lost. Everyone look at me. How sad I am. And then he did this. Okay, WrestleMania 7, heel Hulk Hogan, not angry at the government of Iraq. Okay, that whole thing, like, with Sergeant Slaughter was terrible. He wasn't angry at the government of Iraq. He was angry at the Iraqi people. He said at one point, we're gonna bomb the hell out of Iraq. And I'm just like, dude, this is the good guy. rips the Iraqi flag, disrespecting everyone in Iraq. And then what was it? What do you do? Oh, WrestleMania 8. I'm sorry, this is a big thing for me. I hate Hulk Hogan. WrestleMania 8. They botched the finish, right? They botched the finish. Also, there's one moment in WrestleMania 8 where Sid Vicious pins Hulk Hogan, and it's supposed to be a 2. It was supposed to be a 2 count, right?
Yeah.
But it was funny because Hogan, like, he gets his shoulder up an extra bit, you know. He's like, well, it wasn't 3, but in case it was, I kicked out. Like he wants people to know he kicked out. Warrior makes his return. This is Warrior's big moment, his big return. He's supposed to be the star with Hulk Hogan, all right? But then Hulk Hogan's just like, oh, brother, Warrior, you got a Warrior pose, you got a Hulk pose with me, brother. And then he's trying to, like, he steals the spotlight. Don't even get me started on WrestleMania 9. Complete bullshit that was. And then, his run at WCW, man. His reign of terror in 94, 95 was just insane. What the main event of Starrcade 94 was, Trevor?
I do not remember, unfortunately. Well,
it was Hulk Hogan defending the WCW World title. This is their WrestleMania, by the way. Hogan defending the title against Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
This wasn't WrestleMania, right? This was
Starrcade. This was
Starrcade,
WCW's WrestleMania.
Yeah.
This was the main event match. Hulk Hogan went there and he got all his buddies jobs, and you expect they tried to build up Brutus the Barber fucking Beefcake as a main event heel, and then oh god, I'm just gonna go through. And then Saudi Hogan. Let's not get started. Oh god, I hate Hulk Hogan. He's been a heel.
Talking about SummerSlam last week where he literally refused to lose to Shawn Michaels. And so Shawn went out there and botched the entire match, and it was glorious.
Hulk Hogan is the biggest heel in wrestling history. He was never a face. Fuck Hulk Hogan. He's a scumbag. He's been a heel since day one. Look, I'm not surprised at any of the stuff he's done in real life, honestly.
No, not at all.
Not surprised at all. Like, so...
Can you imagine the backlash we're going to get for this?
Oh, the WrestleMania backlash. That was stupid too. Did you see that?
I saw that.
Brother, put WrestleMania over again in May.
It makes you not want to admit that you watch wrestling.
Oh my god! It's like we got backlash. Sorry, we have WrestleMania, and then we have WrestleMania Backlash, and then we have WrestleMania Money in the Bank, and WrestleMania SummerSlam. Yo, they're just gonna like rename the company WrestleMania.
WrestleMania. For the brother WrestleMania.
Oh, Hulk Hogan's gonna watch. Hulk Hogan's gonna have a spot at WrestleMania 50. Best thing though about WrestleMania Night 2, obviously, Great Khali getting his big WrestleMania payday in 2021. I love to see that. Big shout out to Ranjit Singh as well. Also, whole effing bros, RVD and Matt Riddle, make that a real thing.
Yeah, please do. Please make that.
They did a segment on the bump, freaking gold. Like Matt Riddle is like the perfect hyper stoner, and RVD's like the chill stone. Like that amazing tag team run right there.
That would be great.
Anyway, I'm sorry. I've deflected enough. I need to get that out.
We still over the 2 hours or no?
Oh no, I think we're doing good. We're at 145, right? Oh, we're at 140. We're chilling.
Oh yeah.
So we got time to talk about this.
Yeah, this is the last thing, isn't it?
Well, last official thing. We might have a little 5-minute segment on fuck X-Pac in a minute, but anyway. So, Trevor, I don't know if you've noticed, but AEW has a lot of teams. So far, it's just name some of the teams they have. They have the Inner Circle, the Pinnacle, the Nightmare Family, the Hardy Team, Team Taz, and QT Marshall's new team that he turned his back on Cody and the Nightmare Family, which, again, I thought that was a good move. But it's got a lot of people questioning why the emphasis on these stables. Is this emphasis good? Is it bad? Is it maybe neutral? What's up here? Because we're slowly seeing, team warfare becoming the thing, the main thing in AEW. And we saw how that worked out with WCW. Granted, it was a different way they're doing it, but, we haven't really seen this road lead to many success stories in professional wrestling. So what do you think about AEW having all these teams and the way they're promoting it?
I think it's working better for AEW because of the way they are promoting it. Especially since all of them aren't huge teams. Like the Death Triangle's only 3 people. just best friends, 3 people.
Oh my god, I'm sorry. I forgot. I forgot about those teams. Oh my god, there's just
And well,
teams
actually,
on teams.
I'm sorry. Best friends has just added a female, so they have 4 people now.
Mhm.
Then you also have the Dark Order, you know, and which then I'm still confused what they're doing with the Dark Order, but that's another thing for another day. But I think if you do it the way that they're doing it, it can work. But
Mhm.
I want to see what their end result is. You know what I mean? Like you mentioned in WCW. WCW had like maybe 70,000 teams at one point. They had 2 versions of the NWO. They had 4 horsemen. They had what was it? The with Kurt hitting Rapist crap. What was that? Like they had the
They had and then, like, they had Latino World Order and
order, you know,
and NWO Hollywood, NWO Red and Blue and fucking
Dungeon,
NWO
was it
like
Dungeon something Legion do some shit like
Legion.
that.
Oh, we'll cover that someday. That
That
was
is a whole show.
we will, dude. Oh, I love the Legion of Doom. Don't get me started. Okay, but yeah, no, I get you. I get what you're saying though. We've seen it before, and it's something we're noticing. So we don't necessarily know. So it might we were perceiving it, I think, immediately as like something critical. But I think the way they're doing it actually is kind of different than we've seen in the past, right? Because in the past, there's been more an emphasis on the entire team warfare and the team and like, oh, they're part of this team or whatever, and like they've kind of it's been, I don't know, I don't even know how to explain it. It just hasn't been done the way they're doing it, because the way AEW doing it, I think they're treating it more kind of like how UFC treats it.
Right, right.
Because and I think that's smart, because in UFC you have teams that you train with. There's like American Top Team. There's like all these different teams that they have in the company, and like these the people train with, that you can sign with, that help you train, that help build you up or whatever, right? And I think that's what they've been doing. That's what AEW has been doing with these teams. Like Team Taz, it's not just to get Team Taz over. It's like all these like people like Brian Cage, Ricky Starks, all these guys. They're getting trained and the wisdom from Taz, and he's coaching them essentially. You're seeing, and I think Arn Anderson, Nightmare Family.
Too.
Yeah, and Arn Anderson literally has like a little play sheet, like, and I actually like that. It's different. Because it's not just, oh, we're putting the stable together. Because, I think there's a difference between, like, the team that AEW are doing and stables. I think AEW really only has, like, right now, 2 stables. That, like, I think the Inner Circle and the Pinnacle are probably 2 stables. Otherwise, you have people who are part of teams who are not solely, though, identified by those teams. Like, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because when Brian Cage comes out, oh, he's part of Team Taz, but Team Taz necessarily isn't having a big feud with another team. It's
Right.
Brian Cage who is, like, he's getting trained, so he's getting trained by Taz. And I think it's a good way, because it's kind of like a feeder system. It's a good way to get these clunk these people together and get them over and kind of build them. Maybe they can work their way up into like one of the top teams, like the Nightmare Family, like or the Pinnacle or whatever, what have you, right? So I think the way they're doing it is worked. And I thought about it, and it's honestly one of those things you don't notice it until you like realize it, right? Or you don't start thinking about it until you notice it, and it doesn't bother me, because the way they're doing it, it's not taking away, it's not making it overly complicated either in a weird way. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's simple. It's kind of like they're doing it so you can notice it, but if you don't notice it, it's fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. You don't need to. It's not like the NWO Hollywood and the NWO Red and Blue, because like you needed to know what was happening to keep up with everything. You don't need to know what's going on with Team Taz to know that, like, to like know that someone's in Team Taz. Like, you don't need to know that someone is in Team Taz to know what's going on, because they do a good job of explaining everything anyway. So I like that. Other than that, man, I think the teams, it's a slippery slope though. You have to be careful, because it can very quickly descend into team warfare, especially when you have the Bullet Club now in there in the mix, and the Elite already.
You know what? I think that's kind of what they're gearing up for, because I can definitely see the Pinnacle in Inner Circle being something kind of like the Legion of Doom and the Rock and Roll Express, or or the
the Four Horsemen.
Four Horsemen in the Fabulous Freebirds. Like I can see it breaking down and stuff like that. And to me, that like I've said recently on one of the shows, I think it was last week, that I used to love as a kid, love watching those teams go together. Because I'm a huge Freebirds fan. Yes, I'm showing my age. Fuck all of you. But I love the Freebirds were one of my favorite teams, and I used to love watching them go to war with other teams. I thought it was so cool. Them and the Demolition as well. But
big shout out to Demolition, by the way.
Oh yeah, we mentioned them last week too. Love them.
Yeah.
If they do it right, the team warfare could work. But like you said, I like how it's just training facilities. Just
and I think what I've noticed is at least when they're doing like team warfare, those whole team warfare storylines, like between these different teams, like they're only doing like one big one at a time.
Right.
That they're really like pushing to the top. It's not like how in WCW you had like all these different teams at the same time. Some are in the main event, some are like it was all jungled with a mess. Here it's kind of like that the top team like thing is Inner Circle versus the Pinnacle right now. Just like last year, it was the Elite versus the Inner Circle dominating like the big feud for the year. Right? And then they have these small like little seeds they plant with everyone else so that down the line they could do something, So I like the way they're doing it. Am I a mark for AEW? Whatever you want to say, people in the comments. But
who asked you if you're a mark?
I mean, hey, I'm a wrestling fan. We're all marks. But yeah, like being I'll do this thing. Being a mark is not a bad thing. Being a smark, that's derogatory. Like that's where I get offended.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Anything else we want to talk about? I think we covered it, man. We actually made good time.
We covered a lot today.
We covered a lot, man. We gave out about Hogan. We gave out. Yeah. We did a lot of complaining. Look. This was one of those all or nothing shows. Like literally, it was either we loved something completely or we hated it.
Yeah,
nothing. There was nothing neutral. Like, it was like fuck Kobe Covington, fuck Hulk Hogan, fuck Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton.
I will say this though, like please keep the comments coming. We love them. It's fun for us. It's fun for me. I mean, you're giving us attention and that's cool. It was one comment that the guy was like, he checked it out. He was just reading it. I mean, he didn't agree with us at all. But he did gave us well wishes, which I thought was awesome. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, he's commented before on other stuff too. Like that's the thing. I think sometimes it's easy on like social media or in the comment section to like just kind of go off and be angry when you take things out of context. Yeah. Was there, and maybe he realized it. Maybe he didn't.
Maybe he did. Maybe he's just whatever. But anyway, whether you're a shitbag or not, thank you.
Yeah.
That was awesome. And
just because you're a Kobe Covington fan doesn't mean we can't be friends. We can You can disagree with us on one thing and not completely like rule us out. There's many things, I will not say them on the air. There's many things that Chris Jericho has done in his personal life that I find quite deplorable. But I don't hate Chris Jericho's performance. I think like here's the thing, like I don't know. I want to talk about this on air anyway. But you know what I'm saying.
I know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm saying. Like it's just like all right. Like you someone can be good at what they do and be kind of a dirtbag, but also you can be like, yeah, they're great at their job. Right. Hulk Hogan is the quite opposite. I don't think Hulk Hogan was ever good at his job. I think he was only good. He was a star. So literally, like, here's the thing: he was built up for a star for so long that he got to a point where anything he did was over. He wasn't even he wasn't necessarily the best worker. Like his facial expressions were actually crap. When you look back at him, it's like fake. Like the back rake was one of his signatures moves, bro. The back rake. You remember those? Like I'm supposed to believe that
he literally had like 5 moves. He literally did.
Yeah, like. Look, John Cena, for all the shit that John Cena gets, at least John Cena, his facials are on point. He knows how to work a match. He's got great ring psychology. His promos are second to none. Hulk Hogan, look, his coked up promos were amazing. Brother. But then he had to get off the juice and then off the other stuff. He went like, oh, brother. You know, it's a little less brothery.
That Hogan went over his way there, and we talked about this. Is he was America's boy. He was they paid him is this America this, America that. That's why his fucking song was Real American. Like he was America's poster boy. Was he good at what he did? Fuck no. I mean, has he had some historical matches? Yes. The Andre the Giant match was historical. It was. The one we talked about earlier, the Ultimate Warrior match, historical. Was he great in it? No, but still.
Yeah, you want to talk about two people who cannot work at all? Like it's Ultimate Warrior and Hulk Hogan, but they made it work because the match was laid out well by Pat Patterson. I get the fucking he puts him in the bobbity boopy. He's not Italian. Why did they do that? But you know what I'm saying.
So I honestly think one of the best matches Hogan's ever had was, and it wasn't because of him, was Mr. Perfect, and that's a match that they don't talk about. That it was Mr. Perfect versus.
Well, yeah, they missed the bag with Mr. Perfect so bad.
It was such a great match. Such a great match.
Man, Perfect had some great matches in like the early '90s with Bret Hart.
Yeah.
Though, like they feuded, I think they had a feud for the Intercontinental belt, I believe.
That's the only belt that Perfect held in WWE.
A true Dolph Ziggler of his era.
Yes.
Although, man, Dolph Ziggler,
when the Intercontinental belt actually meant something.
Yeah, but Dolph Ziggler's been annoying me lately, man. He's like,
who's everybody?
Okay, no, it has everything to do with him in the ring. Dolph Ziggler as a performer has been annoying me lately. Because I've gone back and watched some of his matches. He does too much. The dude does way too much. Like watch any Royal Rumble he's been in. This geek. He skins the cat every time he's about to be eliminated. Like
last time.
you can't do that. Okay, look. To make moves special, you have to kind of protect them. And I'm not saying, like at this point, the super kick is like a move that's like, it's not a deadly move. It's like a transition move at this point, right?
Right.
That's because it's been not protected, and that's whatever, right? But the thing is, every time someone skins the cat and does like the thing where they go over the ropes, but they hold on, and my feet didn't touch, but I'm hanging on, and then they come back into the ring, like turn themselves back in. They act like it's the greatest thing ever, but Dolph Ziggler's done it like 10 times in this match. Like, because literally anytime he gets thrown out, he's just like, whoa, my feet didn't touch, and I'm gonna get back in the ring. Like, dude, it's like, imagine if Kofi did like 5 spots. Like, you know how Kofi has his Rumble spots? Imagine if he did like those 5 times every Rumble.
Yeah.
You'd just be like, oh, well, he's gonna do it, and then, oh my God, I don't care.
They protected that and made that special. He only does it once, and he does it only every month. Royal Rumble. I like that.
I like that gimmick too. It's like the one time a year that you're promised something and and you're wondering how it's gonna happen. It's like when Ty Dillinger would always come out number 10 in the Royal Rumble. I can't. I wonder how that happened.
and again, I've spoke on how much I love Sean. I love Ty Dillinger. I thought they didn't use him well at all, but
Ty Dillinger, he was great, man. He was great as Ty Dillinger. But yeah, no, Dolph Ziggler's a geek. Like, I'm sorry, he's a mark for himself. Honestly, he's a little mark for himself.
I actually used to like Dolph Ziggler. He had some great matches with Kofi. He's had some
amazing wrestler. Amazing wrestler. He just does too much.
Yeah,
he just does too much.
He does.
Needs to, and I probably sound like Jim Cornette. Well, goddamn, this motherfucker does too much goddamn bumping, and this fucking piece of shit, and goddamn bitch motherfucker cheesecake, like just God.
Jimmy Cornette can cuss out anybody using any word. Dude.
Oh my God, I will never forget. Like, dude, that the video of him at Wendy's at like 2 a.m.
Oh God,
amazing. Just like, he was so mad about not getting his cheese. Oh God. Okay, we've definitely done a lot of giving out. We've done a little too much complaining. We try to stay positive, but goddamn, there was there was a lot that we needed to get out. The Hogan things we definitely needed to get out because man, that was
needed to happen. You know what I mean?
And there might be more next week because I have not covered the 90s yet, nor the 2000s. We have much more giving out about Hulk Hogan to do. Anyway, but that's for a different day. Trevor, anything else you want to talk about or any parting thoughts or whatever?
I will say this, guys, again, if you want another segment about a particular wrestler or a particular time in wrestling, a match, history, whatever, put it in the comment section. We will get to it. My co-host, well, the head host said,
host of the year, Slammy award-winning host of the year.
We will start doing that different segments in each show that we do. We're here to help you, please you guys, and make it entertaining. So just let us know what you want.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah, and again, you can get in touch with us in the comment section here to ask questions. You can also do it on Twitter, Facebook, Patreon. You can also email us, realtakesportstalk@gmail.com. Again, realtakesportstalk@gmail.com. Probably easiest way, follow us at Real Take Sports on Twitter. Easiest way to do that. The email is also there if you want it in the bio. But Real Takes at Real Take Sports or realtakesportstalk@gmail.com for all your fan questions. We love to answer them. And, all right, for the barman, Trevor Souton, the French barman, Souton. Oh, boopy. Oh, well, we did talk about New Japan, didn't we? All right, for the barman, Trevor Sutton, I'm Omar. We will see you same time, same place next week for another edition of Real Take Wrestle Talk. If you haven't already, remember to like, subscribe as well. Daily. Look at me. Daily freaking videos. You'll get all of that. You'll get clips from this show. So in case you don't want to watch the entire thing, I don't blame you. But also, it's fun. Engage with us. We said Liam engaged with us today. You saw how much fun he had. He got a segment, brother.
Exactly.
Yeah, engage with us. We love it. Whether you love us or you hate us, we love you. We'll see you next week.
Peace.